Welcome to Library Out Loud with your host, Jane Baker. Jane has 7 years working at the Spokane County Library District as a communication and development director. Library Out Loud is about any and all things that are happening at the Library District. Library Out Loud is brought to you in part by STCU and SCLD. Now, here's your host, Jane Baker.
Hello and welcome to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker with the Spokane County Library District. And joining me today, two lovely ladies from the district on our staff. We have Melissa Rhodes and Abra Cole. Welcome. Hi, how are you ladies today?
Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. And this is your first time on the program, so I'm super excited to have some new people who haven't been here before to talk about some things we've not talked about before on the program. So first of all, Melissa, let's start with you. Well, what's your title? Which library do you work at? And kind of what do you do during the day?
I work at the Spokane Valley branch, or Spokane Valley Library. I am a public services specialist, which means most of my time is helping the public. I am at the front desk, I am at the reference desk, I walk around seeing if people need help. I also get to do a story time every week, which is one of the highlights of my job. I do a toddler story time. And I also, every month, I get to do a Too Fun Tuesday after school program with kids. So that's
that sounds
really
like a lot of fun
too. And I get to do various other programming. One of my favorite programs that we just have been wrapping up is the Family Paint Party.
Those have been very popular.
Yes, it's a great program. Both parents and kids get to paint and express themselves and learn a little bit more about the artistic process. So that was a really fun program to get to be a part of. And I also enjoy doing outreach story times at preschools and daycares around the valley.
Sounds like a great time.
Yes,
yeah,
it is. Thanks.
It's great.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Abra, which library do you work at, and a little bit about your day?
I work at Spokane Valley Library as well as North Spokane. Pretty much everything that Melissa said also applies to me. I'm a public services specialist. I work the reference desk and the front desk, and I get to do story time every week as well. I guess I don't do Too Fun Tuesdays, but I am on the escape room planning team, which we're creating an escape room for the teens and tweens of the district for the summer reading program.
That's right, and it has to do with the universe, I believe.
Yeah, the universe of stories.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother show we'll have to talk about. We're going to get great ideas for that kind of stuff. So since you both do story time, I'm going to ask you a quick question on this. How do you choose what books for story time?
I guess it depends on, I think we both do toddler, right?
I do toddler.
There's certain things that you want to look at for a book, like, is it really lengthy? Are there big pictures? Will it appeal to your audience? And do you like it? I think that's the biggest thing. Is this fun for you to read? Will the kids feel that you're enjoying this experience too? And
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah. I would have one small thing to add to that. I agree with everything Abra said. And also there are a lot of picture books that work great one-on-one with one adult and one child. And sometimes those don't translate as well with a big group. So it's also important to look for one that's short enough for the whole group's attention span, as well as, and with toddlers it's good to have books that you can have interactive moments.
Oh, sure. For
sure. To kind of keep them engaged.
And get them up so they can get some wiggles out. And
exactly.
Things like that. Oh,
yeah.
That's great. So for example, a parent listening thinking, oh, well, maybe this book isn't great one-on-one, and this one might be better in a group. And who do I ask? But they can ask you, right? Come to the library.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for today. We're talking about a service that we provide called Book-a-Librarian. And it's kind of a cute little play on words. I understand that Book-a-Librarian, but what does that mean? That means I get to reserve time one-on-one with a librarian. So somebody out there might be listening or watching and saying, well, why would I want to do that? Well, whatever reason, almost.
Pretty much.
Right? So any question somebody might have, they can schedule time to meet with you and you help them one-on-one. And you ladies do that quite a bit. right?
do,
Ah,
Yeah, I think
cool.
a lot of us
So, what kind of questions, what kind of situations would someone book a librarian for?
Some of the common ones that we see a lot are, help with resumes and cover letters. Sometimes it's even just like, I've written this. Can you kind of look at it and see that, it looks okay?
Sure.
But it's also like job applications. We get a lot of questions about technology. So, I got a new tablet for Christmas. Can you help me set up Libby, for example, our Overdrive app? Stuff like that. What else?
And in terms of job applications, for Gen Xers and baby boomers, and maybe even some millennials that have not had the advantage of having their own computer or having a lot of computer access, that switch from the old way of doing a job application where you went to a business, you picked up a paper application, you filled it out, you handed it in. That switch to online job applications is a really tough one for a lot of people. And that is something that we help people with a lot. And it sounds really simple, but for someone who has yet to make that switch to the online application form, it's not simple at all. And so that's a lot of what we do is helping people with computer technology. I think there's a misconception in society today that everyone's got a computer now.
Right.
Everyone knows how to use a computer, and that's simply not true. There are a lot of financial barriers. There might be geographical barriers. And so the library is really good at helping with that technological barrier, helping pull people up and pull people in and giving them that little extra boost.
Yeah, that's great. Most employers don't accept the paper
Right.
applications or resumes anymore. So,
Yeah.
not only do you need a computer, you need to understand, you need to have an account, and you need to have an email and all those things. Plus, you need internet access. So,
Yes.
and the library has all that.
Yep.
So that's great. So that's more of a traditional type of question, though. I mean, libraries have helped people with job searches for decades. So that's there. That's good to know. It's a staple, and it's a good place for people to go to reference. But what other kind of stories, what other kind of things do we help people with at the library?
Well, one thing that I can think of is, and I suppose this is somewhat technology related, but I know I've helped some people put things on Craigslist
Really?
to sell.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
And again, it's just, they kind of know how to do it. They just want a little bit of hand holding to help them. And really, that's one thing we do want to emphasize. We don't do things for people.
Yes.
We help them learn how to do it for themselves
Yes.
so that they are more empowered the next time. And sometimes that just takes one 30-minute session. Sometimes it takes several. I know you've worked with people over several sessions from time to time.
Yeah,
So-
sometimes it takes more than just the one.
So that's an option when there's a bigger project, or maybe
Definitely.
more of a challenging
Yeah.
task that needs to be performed.
I mean,
you can do more than one.
sometimes people will come in with like, this is what I need to accomplish, right? And it can take the 30-minute session, and then they're happy to go on their way. But I helped maybe about a year ago. I helped a woman, and we had sort of, it was open-ended because she had so much that she wanted to learn, mostly about the computer and technology. She wanted to get back into typing, and she wanted to learn Word and Excel. And
wow.
so we met almost every week for quite a few months
Wow.
to just kind of guide her in that, in that direction. And then she started attending our GED adult program that we had at Valley.
Yeah.
And kind of focused her attention on that.
Wow,
and
what
stopped
a
meeting,
great
but,
way to turn
yeah.
someone's life around.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
She called me a couple of months after we stopped meeting, and she just was like, "Hey, I wanted to check in, see how you're doing, and tell you how far I've come." And she was really close to taking the GED test, and it's really great to hear those.
What a fabulous story that is. So, so when you have somebody that really wants to learn, I mean, Word. I've typed on Word since probably the beginning, but for somebody new, how do you start showing them how to use that rather sophisticated program?
We have some databases on our website that will kind of guide. And there are web resources that we used as well.
Okay.
And we did a lot of, with this particular customer, we did a lot of repetition. We went over the same stuff a couple of weeks,
Wow.
And yeah, I think it was really good.
That's very exciting.
Really
So
fun, yeah.
I know I'm calling you next time I have a question about
Yeah,
Word.
sure.
That's great. What other kind of stories do you have? You see a lot of people during the day and get a lot of questions. What's another story that you could share?
One of the things that we are now offering at, I believe it's at both North Spokane and Spokane Valley, is what we're calling Project Memory.
Oh, yeah.
And we now have equipment to transfer old media into digital. And let me grab my cheat sheet to say everything that we have. We have an Epson Fast Photo for transferring already printed photos to digital photos. We have a Canon scanner if you have larger photos or documents that you want to scan into digital. We also can convert 35 millimeter slides,
Wow.
35 millimeter film, and
Wow.
120 film. We have a Wolverine film to digital movie maker that can transfer 8 millimeter film and Super 8 film to digital film.
Very nice.
Or digital video. And we have a VHS player that can transfer VHS to DVD.
So if you have old photos, slides,
Home
film, movies,
yes.
and who has a projector to watch those things on, but I have a DVD player. How do I get it onto a DVD? You'll help do that.
Exactly.
Actually, you show people how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So what a great idea that is.
So the book, and I've been doing a lot of those recently. So the Book-a-Librarian appointment is to familiarize them with the machinery, kind of get them started. And then after they already know how to use the technology, then they can just book the technology. It does need to be used in the library. And the other caveat we have is that it must be your personally produced material. We
sure.
do not allow reproduction of commercial.
Yeah, no copyright
That's right,
infringement.
no
Yes.
copyright infringement. But yes, and we even have a cassette player that can do cassette to USB.
Yeah, a lot.
So, if your kid, if when you were a kid, if your parents taped your concerts, or if you used to do interviews via cassette. I know
Sure.
I've got some old interviews I would love to get
Sure.
put into digital before that cassette tape totally degenerates. So that is one of the newer things that we're doing in the Book-a-Librarians, which I
that's-
find super exciting.
That is very
The
exciting.
nice thing about all of those pieces of equipment are they're pretty user friendly. And so after just like one or two sessions, the people who have a lot of material that they want to process, they can come in pretty easily and use it themselves.
And use it again.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great resource that is. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here on Library Out Loud.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
I'm Jade Becker, and I'm a senior at Chewilla High School. I'm at STCU's Money Live event. In this scenario that we played today, I was a realtor. My spouse was a city worker. We had an 11-month-old child, and there was a lot of spending for that child, like diapers and formula, and had to buy toys and clothing. I'm very glad that I had this experience. It was super helpful. You need this to get far and ahead in life. I'm Jade Becker, and STCU is here for good.
And welcome back to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker with the Spokane County Library District, and joining me today, Melissa Rhodes and Abra Cole, public service specialists, and mostly work at Valley, sometimes up at North Spokane. And you ladies work with Book-a-Librarian quite a bit. That's where you get to reserve 30 minutes or more time, one-on-one with a librarian or library staff who can come help you with a multitude of things. And one of the things we were talking about is the new program where you can transfer your old photos and videos and things to DVD or USB. You mentioned cassette player to USB. I remember I have an old cassette of my son when he was just a little boy singing Jingle Bells, and I want to save it forever, which I have, but I have no cassette player now. So it's like, oh, what do I do with this? But yeah, I could bring it to the library and transfer that.
And like Melissa said, the cassette itself will break down over time.
Absolutely.
Whereas a digital file won't.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes. so then when he turns 40, I can haunt him with this.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. Torture your children with digital memories.
But it is, it can be any application. Home movies, from grandparents who are long gone, and those are such precious memories. To be able to show them again, what a great thing. So you will help people set up and learn how to do that, and then they can actually reserve the equipment in the library, come in and work on it and transfer things over. That's great.
Yeah.
Great. And then, Abra, you mentioned the studio. There's a studio at Spokane Valley, and not everybody knows this, but it's like a studio like this. Yes. So people can do, what can they do at the studio?
They can film, they can edit, they can do sound recordings. Like we all have people come in and do podcasts. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So if if I'm working on a video, then maybe I don't know what kind of video. I don't know what I'd be working on a video for. But if I was making a video and I needed to edit it and I didn't know how, or I didn't have the software or a powerful enough computer, I can come reserve time at the studio. And then you help with that too?
Yeah, mostly it would be our colleague Sarah. She's sort of the studio tech. And she would work with you. She would do a Book-a-Librarian or several Book-a-Librarians to get you really comfortable using the software. And then you can reserve the studio space outside of that. So once you're good, you don't feel like you need help anymore, then you can come in and use the space
at your
as
convenience.
needed.
Yeah. So now, to book a librarian, I can do that online at scld.org, or I can call the library.
Definitely.
Okay. Is there any other way that I can do that?
If you come in, if you're in the library and you're like, oh, I need help to do this.
Oh, sure.
Talk to any staff. Yeah. Anybody can point you in the right direction.
Okay, great. So scld.org, book a librarian, and now share. I'd love it if you shared a couple more stories about different people you've helped from Book-a-Librarian.
Well, I know Sarah shared a couple stories with us about the studio, some studio successes. One was a tween that she started helping, and, Mom got the Book-a-Librarians set up, and this person now understands the equipment so well and has made so many videos now that he has his own YouTube channel.
Oh my goodness.
With videos he's created in our studio at Spokane Valley Library, and he's got a lot of subscribers. And I was substituting for Sarah during the open studio hours when he came in with one of his friends one day, and it was just great to hear them having fun editing their footage. And I know he has also submitted videos to CMTV.
Wow.
Community-minded enterprises. And then she also has another success story of a woman she's worked with, and I have also run into this woman who is a juggler. And this woman is really great at, she's self-motivated. She asks, what's the next good step for me to expand my knowledge and work more. She had already been very adept at working on a PC, but had never worked on a Mac before. And so Sarah really got her educated in how to use the Macs.
Wow.
She now uses iMovie, Final Cut Pro, GarageBand, and one day I was speaking with her, she has now sold video footage to producers of TV commercials of she and her husband juggling.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's pretty cool.
That's neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So kind of like making an audition tape in a way, and
Yeah.
launching YouTube stars, and
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty exciting stuff happening there.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no cost to this, no charge.
Right.
Correct.
If you need the help, come in. We're there to help you. Yeah, that's great. I don't need to check out this YouTube channel and more about on CMTV and see what kind of stuff is going on. What an exciting thing. How about you, Abra?
I guess I did want to mention that there are things that we're not qualified to help with,
Okay.
including like, tax help. And what was the other thing? Like legal advice. Yeah.
Sure.
But we can definitely schedule a Book-a-Librarian to help point you in the right direction of doing those things through somebody who does know.
Who is qualified, to help
qualified to
with
help
those
you.
kinds of
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
specialized.
So yeah, if it's something that we can't do ourselves, then we'll definitely help you find somebody who can.
Oh, yeah. That's what the library is all about.
I know.
Connecting people who need something with people who have what they need. Yeah.
And I think one of the other things we don't generally do is sort of Geek Squad level
Technical.
IT help.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you have to hit the Geek Squad for that. And of course, legal help and things like that. Tax aid, you go to specialists, but we can help you find those specialists. Yeah, that's great. So, other stories. What other excitement happens in the library?
We talked with a lot of our coworkers who also do Book-a-Librarian appointments to, pick their brains too. Corinne had a good one. One of my coworkers at North Spokane, she was able to help a teen, I think, learn to love the nonfiction section.
Really?
Her mom talked to my coworker Corinne and was concerned that her daughter was only interested in reading fiction, and she wanted someone besides mom, because kids don't always listen to their moms.
Absolutely.
To kind of go, oh hey, look, there's all this other stuff over here that you could, you might actually really enjoy. And so Corinne kind of walked her through and showed her some of the highlights, and I guess the girl ended up having to get cut off by her mom because she already had too many books from the nonfiction section to take home. So that worked out.
Well, in defense of fiction, there's nothing wrong.
There's
with
nothing wrong with fiction. There's absolutely nothing wrong with fiction.
Yes.
But I think she mentioned that she found cookbooks that correlated with the girl's favorite series, and
awesome.
ties in well with the fiction, the nonfiction.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've even heard of book clubs that will pick a book and then have a cookbook in which everybody that comes to the book club brings a dish from the era or whenever whenever that book was set in. So the cookbook is a nice option to go along with that. Yeah. There's an idea. We need to do something like that next time at the library. Yeah, what fun. Other Book-a-Librarian stories. I'd love to hear what people come in and we help them with, because during the day, you never know what you're going to have. Every customer that walks up to you is going to have something totally different and unique to ask about. And you're able to find that assistance for them, which is it sure beats Google, that's for sure. Sorry, Google.
One of the reasons why I like this job so much is because it's different every day.
Yeah.
You never know. And I feel like it's not just us teaching them stuff. Like, I learn stuff from people all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, somebody will mention something that they're obviously totally expert on, and I know nothing about. I'm like, I need to learn more about this. It sounds amazing.
So the great exchange of knowledge that way. And we're not, like you had mentioned earlier, we don't do it for you.
Right.
We show you how to do it. So it's kind of like teaching a man to fish type of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
And the other phrase I hear quite a bit is the library is a hand up not a handout.
Yeah.
And that is, it is an exchange of knowledge. That's awesome information. So when you leave here today, what do you think you're going to do for the rest of today? Well, first, let me check. You're both on schedule, right? You're going to work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Boy, that's you just never know.
You just
I,
never
know. You never know.
I assume I'm going to be on the desk most of the day, and if people don't need my help, I'll be working on trivia questions for Friday night's book versus film trivia. If people do need help, that I will be helping them with whatever they need help with.
Oh, that's great. Now, wait, book versus film trivia.
Trivia, yeah.
Tell me quickly about that.
This Friday at Spokane Valley, we've got a book versus film trivia night at 6:30. So it's an after hours. The library closes at 6. Then only trivia people get to come in after that for the 6:30 trivia night.
Oh, what fun.
So that should be fun. Yeah.
And I believe this one, you can actually bring food in.
Yes.
So you can bring your
You can
dinner
bring your
in
own
and,
food.
and play
If you
trivia.
have a favorite film persona you want to dress up as, costumes are totally welcome.
Oh, what
So-
fun. So you get to work on trivia questions for that.
Yep.
You have a great job.
Yes, it's pretty great.
That's a great job. How about you, Abra? Are you on today?
I am. I'll be at North Spokane today, and probably be on desk helping people with whatever they need me for.
Whatever they need you for. Wow. What a great, satisfying thing to do every day. Wake up and help people with wherever they need the help. Yeah, that's great. Any final stories that you want to share quickly about?
I liked Diane's story about the woman with the heirloom doll. Do
Oh,
you mind if I
no,
tell
yeah,
that
go ahead.
one?
Okay.
One of our colleagues, one of the librarians at Spokane Valley, was helping a woman with the project memory. So that she initially came in to work on the project memory equipment, and she had an family heirloom doll. And she wanted to, she was working on setting up a whole presentation about this. And at some point she realized she kind of needed more information. There were certain times when she didn't know exactly who had the doll or what was going on with the doll. And so she wanted to kind of just flesh out maybe that time period, that geography a little bit more. And so Diane was able to steer her towards our online encyclopedia that's in our digital library, as well as some other digital timelines that could really help her just fill in information about that time period. I think her family was in Missouri at that point in time. So just kind of filling out Missouri history and, what kind of reality her ancestors would have been living in at the time. So
Wow, you really don't ever know what you're going to be
yeah,
researching. during the
you
day.
may come in for help with one thing and get help with 2-3 things. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. What fun. Well, thank you both for joining me today,
Thanks for having
Abra
us.
and Melissa, and for all that you do with the public and the Book-a-Librarians and helping people. If you want to find out more about Book-a-Librarian, go to scld.org, and you can find out not only about Book-a-Librarian, but all the resources we talked about, all the classes, the trivia night, all of those things, or pick up an Engage magazine. A new one is out this week, so keep an eye out for that. And the new one this week will also have all of our exciting summer stuff. So it's going to be an exciting summer. It's always an exciting time at the library. If you haven't been to the library in a while, you're missing out, right?
It's true.
Again, thank you for joining me,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next time on Library Out Loud.
Thanks for watching. Library Out Loud is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Library Out Loud is sponsored by our friends at the Spokane County Library District and STCU. Ask Jane a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.